Thank you for joining us today. What a fabulous audience. My name is Merideth Schutter. In this diverse and magnificent city filled with people from all over the globe, other provinces and other cities, I'm a tad bit unusual. I am an actual real-life Vancouverite, raised right here in this city. In fact, raised about 3.5 minutes down the road. So what does it mean to be from Vancouver? Real estate, of course. I remember as a kid taking the Real Estate Weekly and cutting out all the open house listings and pasting them on our fridge and convincing my parents to spend their most coveted weekends scoping out the open houses in our neighborhood. I love to explore and see how other people's lives went, the escape, the voyeurism. There was something so romantic about it. So at the tender age of 10, real estate was already my passion. It was in my blood. And even though, if you ask my mother, she would have loved me to become a dentist like her and my father. Yes, you can admit it, Mom. I, always the rebel, became a realtor. I was excited. I simply loved helping people buy and sell homes, and I was good at it. In fact, being entrusted with people's largest investment really made me feel powerful and in control of my destiny. My husband and I, we even started buying and flipping and renovating our own properties here on the west side of Vancouver. We loved taking the ugliest, oldest house on the block and turning it into something beautiful that other people wanted to buy. There was something satisfying about that feeling, all that sweat equity we poured into it. You know, like many others, we were up all night painting, sanding, staining, and the list goes on. Being a realtor also allowed me flexibility, which was great because I have 3 children. I got off on the pure entrepreneurial spirit of being a realtor, which really meant the harder I worked, the more success I reaped. When I look back at my career as a realtor, I loved it. It was fast-paced, life was great, I didn't have a worry in the world, I was happy, safe, and felt fortunate. But 5 years ago, my life as I knew it came to a grinding halt. It was a regular Saturday. I was going to do an open house. I'd done dozens of these in my career as a realtor. There was nothing particularly special about this weekend. I arrived early at the open house, alone, as I always did. I put out all my signs. I even put out my "Please remove your shoes" sign at the front door, and I prepared for what I was hoping to be a busy day. Now, I remember it was about 2:20 in the afternoon, and 2 men walked through that door of my open house. They must have known I was alone because there was no shoes at the front door at the "Please remove your shoe" sign, indicating other open house guests. Well, I heard the door lock behind them, and I instantly felt that surge of adrenaline rush through my body. I knew something was wrong. I felt it in my guts. That instant sweaty feeling, I'm sure you can relate. You know that feeling when you're on an airplane and you hit unexpected turbulence and it does that little drop and you go instantly sweaty and your face gets flushed? That was exactly what I was feeling at that moment. Well, one man grabbed me and shoved me into the kitchen. The other man stood guard. I was, of course, flailing and making as much noise I can with his hand over my mouth. I went into shock and survival mode. Just then, a young family came up the side of the house. They wanted to see the backyard. They had 2 little kids. Well, the husband heard the ruckus, and he came dashing up onto the deck and opened the sliding kitchen door. And that's a moment I will be always grateful that happened. The 2 men were interrupted, never to be seen again, and bolted out the front door. Now, just to be clear, I wasn't raped, and I wasn't seriously physically hurt. I was lucky. I had escaped with just a few bruises on my arm and on my back. But I changed that day as a woman and as a realtor. This job that I loved so much and had given me so much opportunity had a dark side, a lonely, scary side that nobody talked about. As realtors, driving people to open houses is part of the job description. We use social media, bus stops, Facebook ads, as well as more traditional forms of advertising. And I was no longer comfortable being alone. I was terrified. In fact, more than terrified, I was angry. I was angry that I couldn't remember what these 2 guys looked like. I was angry that this job that I loved had betrayed me, and mostly I was angry at myself for not being prepared for a situation like this and not having the tools to deal with it. So I began researching everything I could about personal safety. And let me tell you, there wasn't much out there. And when I talked to people, nobody had even heard of anything. I also discovered that I'm not alone. Do you know that 40% of realtors in North America have experienced a situation on the job where they feel unsafe for their personal safety? And this isn't just women. This is men and women. This is not a female-only issue. What happened to me could not happen to anybody else. And this little voice inside of my head kept getting louder and louder and louder, and I simply couldn't ignore it any longer. My perspective changed that day, and I found I had a new purpose in life. Now, I always say, mostly to my children, but to others as well, that the universe doesn't give you what you can't handle. And I honestly feel I was given an opportunity to make change, and I didn't want to waste it. I truly felt I was given a second chance, and I was exactly where I was meant to be, and everything in my life had led me to this moment. I felt grateful to have survived, and I wanted to change the landscape of corporate responsibility and give back. I wanted to help people globally, not only realtors and not only women. I looked for a solution high and low that would empower me and other entrepreneurs just like myself through personal safety. But I didn't want to subscribe to anything fear-based. That was not my mandate. I needed to feel connected. I wanted to feel human connection with my friends and family and colleagues while I was at work and at play. Now, trust me, with 3 kids at home, it would have been very easy to just continue along my path as a realtor. So when I told my husband that I was going to change our lives, we were a 2-income family, and at the age of 40, switch it up and try something new. Fortunately, he's also an entrepreneur and a really big inspiration in my life. He told me he'd always be there, and he'd be there for the journey and the adventure, and we were on this ride together, and that it was my turn. The support of my friends and family has been immense, overwhelming, and I gain tremendous strength and courage from them every day. I know I can do it with them behind me. Now, it wasn't easy to leave a very successful career for something full of risk and new challenges, but I did, and I created Protect Smart Personal Safety. We are a software for the employer and an app for the employee, and that allows you to live the life that you love, but still be safe. We help take away fear and replace it with confidence and empowerment, whether you are jogging in the woods alone, you're on a Tinder date, or you're a remote worker. So we launched in February of this year, and really it's been the greatest learning experience of my life. I've learned how short life truly is, and to slow down, to be present, to listen more and talk less, and to really enjoy every moment that you have. It took courage, but I learned to listen to my gut and follow my intuition, and mostly trust myself above and beyond anything. And believe me, when I did, it inspired others around me to do the same. I learned when you let go of everything you think you should do and that you need and want, you find more purpose, you find more power and more meaning in your life. Every day is full of challenges, but, like most of you, I wouldn't have it any other way. I encourage you, take the leap. Inspire those around you. Look around the room. These people are your champions. And turn your own adversity into success. And one final thing, please, if you ever hear that little voice in your head that's getting louder and louder and louder, take the moment to listen to it, because it's telling you something important, and it's usually bang on. Thank you.